Hello. Have you heard of brouhaha before? Yes? Some, no, yes. You will very soon. It will be on every shelf all over Scotland. Brouhaha is a Glasgow tea company, and I'm a director and founder of that tea company. I haven't always been in tea. I've always drank it, but I've never been in the tea industry. I started out as a TV producer with the biggest advertising agency in Scotland then, the Leith Agency in Edinburgh, and produced big commercials for big companies. After that, well, I was there for many years, but then I took a break from that to have children, and it was a 10-year break. And when my youngest child was 4, I actually started to panic slightly and thought, what am I going to do? How do I get back into the workplace? How do I go back being a producer again? And actually with children it would be very hard to do that because you're away from home a hell of a lot. So I thought, well, if I had my own business, maybe I could take time off with my children a lot more. How wrong I was thinking that at the time, because as the story progresses, I'll tell you that you'd never ever take a holiday. You're always selling tea and you're always running your business. So my youngest child was 4. I had a year before he started school, and in that year I decided to research, and literally if I was going to have a business, what would that business be? And what was my strengths? So at that time, I could have been selling a bulb or a piece of string, but it turned out to be tea. And the reason why it was tea, that in that year's research, and I must say, when you do start a company, do give it enough time to research what you're going to get yourself into. In that year, when I was researching, there seemed to be a gap in the tea industry. You had the tea that was selling in the supermarkets, and then you had the very pompous teas, the teas that people, it's very much like wine. You get the pompous wine, you get the supermarket wine, and tea's very, very much the same. But there was a great big gap in the middle. There was just that tea, something slightly unusual that maybe your parents wouldn't buy in the supermarket, but not the pompous teas that you smelt and you goggled but you never drank. So then I was looking at tea. So how do I sell tea? What would it be? What would the name be? The name actually came first. I gathered a group of my friends at my home one night and supplied them with a lot of red wine and said that you're not leaving my house until I get a name for my business. It's going to be a tea company, and I need a name for it. So 2 o'clock in the morning, and very sore heads, and a lot of giggling through the night, brouhaha came up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I wrote it down, and the next day I looked at all the names, and brouhaha just came out, and it just was that was perfect. Why it was perfect was that brew, being a cup of tea, brewing a cup of tea, and haha, having fun. So you're taking the tea away from the pompousness, but you're actually taking it away from the you're not looking at the PG tips and the Tetleys. So there it was, brouhaha. How was I going to make the brand look? At the time when I was doing my research, I was looking at a company in America called Benefits Makeup, and it just appeals with the younger market. It's very kitsch, retro, and it's got everything for everybody. So I went down that route, a wee bit kitsch, a wee bit retro, for a younger market. And then brouhaha, the brand, the looking brand came out. We wanted a lot of vibrant colours there. The logo itself is a blue star with a lady's head in it, with a hand and a cup. And the way that we designed it was the star, the face, the hand, and the cup. And we very crudely put all of them together and made this logo. And it seems to work. And with the brouhaha, it goes well together. Take the logo away and have brouhaha, you know what it is. Take brouhaha away, look at the logo, and you know what it is. You know that it's a tea company. So we had the brand, we then had the brand, we had the name, but we didn't have any tea. So it would have been very easy for me to go to the London tea markets or the Germany tea markets and buy from them and get it packaged in the UK. But when I researched, and again, I keep coming back to research over and over again, when I researched it, it was actually going to cost me quite a lot of money to do that. So I got onto my internet and started to look at tea producers further afield. India, Sri Lanka, Japan, China, and started to get samples in from different tea producers around the world and sampled the teas. And I would actually get people coming to my home, and I would have tea sampling afternoons and evenings for people to try the teas. And the winning tea came out of Sri Lanka. Everybody loved Sri Lankan tea, so a good Ceylon tea. So I contacted this person in Sri Lanka and I says, would there be any chance that you would supply me tea? And they said no, because I was too small. I hadn't even started. You know, the business hadn't even started then. But I got a knockback straight away. I actually got 3 knockbacks from companies. And every time I got a knockback, I had to go to a smaller producer, and then to a smaller producer, and then I got to the chap that was willing to sell me the tea direct. And again, this was all on the internet. I actually hadn't went out to Sri Lanka at that point. Everything was done on the internet. I bought my tea through the internet. Well, not through the internet, but I found the source of my tea through the internet. I then sent over my ideas of my brand over to him, and he laughed. He actually thought it was absolutely hilarious that I was going to try to sell tea that way, looking the way that it was. It looked like a perfume bottle, he said. But, you know, I wasn't going to take no for an answer. This is what I wanted. So he took the design away and made a cutout of a box, put it onto the box, made the tea bags and things like that. And they came over, you know, this took a good couple of months going back and forwards, trying to get in the right boxes, the right teas, and then what happens is when he gets the teas in Sri Lanka, he then takes it down, he blends it, takes it down to Colombo and gets it all packaged in Colombo. So you're getting the tea at its freshness. So when, you know, if I was to buy from Germany or London, it would have to come into the UK market and get packaged here, and it would have cost me about 2 or 3 times more than getting it packaged in Sri Lanka. So I've now got my name, my beautiful looking brand, and I've got a source of my tea. And I thought, how am I going to pay for this? I had done all this research. I had got it all at that point of, you know, what am I going to do now? How am I going to pay for this tea? At that point, and this is the most bizarre things, and in business this happens a lot. A contact of mine came up to me and said, we're designing a cafe in the south side, and I would like you to submit your creative ideas for this cafe. And my first question was, does it pay money? And they said yes. I went, right, okay, I'll do it. So I put up all these big boards of all my ideas of what I thought a cafe would look like. And I was up against other businesses at the time, other design businesses at the time, and I won the pitch. So actually, I had to work to fund my business. So to get my business starting, I had to actually go and design a cafe in the south side to get my business going. Anyway, that happened, and I must say the cafe is still up and running now. It's actually bigger now because it's such a success, and it sells my tea, so that's good. So I got paid for that, so I was able to actually pay for my first shipment of tea. And it was a very nervous time. You know, I was just hoping that everything was right when it came over. It came over, we got it, and we thought, right, what do we do now? No customers. I've got nothing to say. I've got all this tea in my house. My hall was taken over with boxes and crates, and my kids loved it because it was just like piles of boxes for them to play with. You know, some more toys, Mum? Yes. All pretty colours. Yeah, you play with them. But I had no customers. Nothing, nobody at all. What do I do? Do I go around knocking on doors? And then I was reading one of the foodie magazines, and the Specialty Fine Food Show came up, and it's held in the Olympia in London. And I thought, oh, what a fantastic event. I wonder if I can get a wee stand, just a 2x1. Wee stand, dress it up, have my nice tea in, and see what happens. So I phoned them up, and they said, yes, 2x1 you can have. And before I put the phone down, I says, can I launch my product there? And as soon as I said launch, they went, of course you can, that'd be fantastic. We love it when people want to launch their products here. So it was just by chance that I actually asked that. Now the Specialty Fine Food Fair in London really pushed the boats out. They got the press involved, they got Meet the Buyers involved, they got, you know, an invitation to a drinks at night time that you took your products and there was other buyers there. They really, and they made a big thing in their magazine as well about Brouhaha launching their tea at the Specialty Fine Food Fair. So we went down, and you know, we're standing there. All these tea companies started to come and visit us. And they're looking at our product and our brand, and all that they were doing was shaking their heads and laughing and walking away. And I'm going, oh no, what if we go away from this without no customers at all? But actually, as the doors opened at the Specialty Fine Food Show, our first customer came straight up to us and gave us an order there and then, which I was not expecting. I was expecting to be giving out a whole load of literature to people, a whole load of samples to people, and then for them to come back maybe a month, 2 months later. But I got my first order there and then, and it was from the Longship in the Shetlands. And I thought, how bizarre, I'm all the way down to London, selling my Scottish product, and my first customer's Scottish. My second customer from that was Harrods. They didn't place an order there and then. They just said, we'll be in contact with you, which, to their word, they were. Then came up. And it was because the product was different. There was nothing on the market at that time that looked like that. There was no tea products at that time that looked like that, and it was all because it was different. And then the 3-day show was just spectacular. It was absolutely fantastic. We couldn't have wished for a better launch of our product. I'll go back on the brand development thing. I probably said it quite lightly about brand development. It's very important about your brand development and your research, and you're looking into it. I think we were quite flippant at the time regarding it, but it's actually worked out now. But it's very important, that brand development and looking at different brands and researching and seeing what's different about your product and your brand to everybody else's. Sri Lanka, I must say, has been absolutely fantastic, and we're still with Sri Lanka right now. They've been a tremendous help with everything that we asked for. But they saw us as a small company growing, and they've stayed with us, and they've been tremendously. And don't let other countries, go into other countries to source things out, put you off. It's well worth it, and it all goes down to price. At the end of the day, you have to get your margins right. So by going out to Sri Lanka was the right move for us. Sorry. How we've grown the brand since that first show in the Specialty Fine Food Show is that we've done a lot of shows. And we knock on doors. Literally, I have a little blue van, and it is a little blue van. It's the most scabbiest little blue van in the world, but it's packed of brouhaha tea. And whenever I see a cafe or a restaurant or something, I always just stop, get some samples out with some point of sale, run in, and if they don't have time for you, because a lot of people don't have time for you because they're running their own business. Here, there's some samples, try them out with your customers. If you like them, give me a ring. So it's there's no shame in knocking on doors. I do it now. And it's very important that you keep on doing it. And I talk about my business continuously. So I bore people. And it's right here now. It's actually embedded in me, and I love brouhaha dearly, so I do talk about it a lot. Where are we now? This has been 6 years in the making of brouhaha. We're still in Harvey Nichols. We're in Harvey Nichols as well, which is right near. We've been in there for 6 years, which is very, very nice. We're part of Harrods Truly British promotion, which is lovely. They see us as a British brand, and they help us out a great deal. We're in big department stores. We're in restaurants, hotels, cafes, farms, garden centre, where everywhere that you think that you should have tea. And that's just sheer hard work. Last year, we got into the second biggest retailer in the US, in Canada. And that was down to literally being somewhere at the right place, being at the right place at the right time with your products again. The buyer for this big company was in London when I was down in London. I had some products with me at the time, and I just literally just said, take them away and have a look at them. You don't have time for me here, but just take them away and have a look at them and let me know. And literally we ship out a container of tea every 2 months to the US, and the container is a 20-foot container, and there's a hell of a lot of tea in that container, and that goes out to the US. We're in Canada now. We're in a huge supermarket chain in Moscow and Moscow region. We're in Czech Republic. I've sold tea to the Chinese, which is fantastic. Thank you. I love that as well. And where do we want to be? We want to be on everybody's shelves, of course. Every business wants to be everywhere. I want brouhaha to be taken seriously as a good brand. Do you know what hurts me the most? It's actually that the brand is more well known in the southern England than it is in Scotland, and that pains me because I actually think it should be the Glasgow brand, the Scottish brand of tea. And the Glasgow City Council are doing a great thing at the moment with Brouhaha. They're actually showcasing the tea with the likes of Tennent's, Tunnocks, Iron Brew and Brouhaha, and they take it away around the world, promoting Glasgow businesses and Glasgow brands. And I'm delighted that they're doing that. It's wonderful. My joy out of this, that when I sit at home at night and I've got my cup of tea in my hand and my head goes away slightly and I dream and I think, how many people are sitting with a cup of Brouhaha in their hand right now, and in how many countries? And I get a bit of a buzz from that. I think it's really, really... It's quite frightening to think that your little brand that you created around a kitchen table with a group of your friends is actually out in the world somewhere doing this little thing. And I've treated the brand very much like a baby. It's 6 years old now. And when it was a baby and you nurture it and you look after it and you wrap it up in cotton wool and you want the best for it. Now that the brand is 6 years old, I actually wave at it at the gate in the morning, go bye, I'm out of here with it. Just like a child waving your child off at the school kids in the morning. It's actually got to that stage now that it's running slightly. And I don't have to take its hand all the time, which is a nice feeling, because you feel as though that the brand's growing and it's grown up, and it's going out there doing its thing. I think that's from me. That's my story of growing Brouhaha brand from start to finish. There's been a lot of tears. I must say, I've got a smile on my face today. Having Brouhaha for 6 years hasn't been continuously a smile on your face. We got into Tesco's about 4 years ago. These are my words of warnings now. I got into Tesco's a couple of years ago, about 3.5, 4 years ago. Probably jumped before I should have. Probably took a decision on something before I should have taken a decision, and it didn't work out for us. That decision nearly brought Brouhaha down, and I had to scrape my way back out of that hole that I was in. I put myself in it, but I had to get myself out of it. I don't know how I got myself out of it, but it worked, and it took about a good year to rescue the business from that. So yes, you have to take risks, and if all risks don't work, you have to be able to cope with that afterwards and get yourself out of it. And I suppose, as I said, I count Brouhaha as a baby and it's growing up in front of us. I would fight for my children, I would fight for Brouhaha, and I did fight for it, and I kept it going. And I suppose that's what you do in business. You take, you jump from things, and you don't know if you've got your parachute attached to your back until you actually land, or you're going to go, or you're just going to come down like a little feather at the end of it. You don't know that, but when you decide to make decisions, they're the right decisions at the time. And, you know, they might not be the right decisions in the big scheme of things, but at the time they are the right decisions. So, you know, if you're going to start your business, have fun with it, have great fun with it, and expect some tears along the way, but a lot of joy from it as well, because it's brought me a hell of a lot of joy. Thank you very much.